Hello my stars and just guest of the channel, with you as always Arosa Shadow or simply Miss Arosa. Today's speed paint will be the story of how I came up with my universe and how I began to create it and write lore. According to the survey in Instagram, I realized that you are interested in this topic, so I see no reason not to shoot this video, and in the next video I will tell you more about the plot. By the way, the video on the third feed that you see on the screen is already in the previous video on YouTube and in my Tik Tok. Yeah, this is a video with the winter design in the spring, but why not? I just didn't have time to make it this video early because of my mental health. And before we start, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my Patreon, where we play Diabolik lovers and have already completed the lightest route. Videos are also released on my Telegram channel, also only twice a week, while there are 4 on Patreon. There are also links to games and translations, and after lightest route I held a poll on Instagram and Telegram where subscribers chose the next Sakamaki brothers, namely Kanato. I also plan to play all the other games, and if anyone has a link of the game House Lineage, I would be grateful if you leave in this on comment or write to me on social networks. And now we can start this video. Initially, back in 2017, I was just creating characters in Pony Creator, making mini stories in PowerPoint and drawing arts, but in 2018 I suddenly began interested in humanizing characters and trust the first design from Pony Creator to anime style. The prototypes of which were my soft choice, but over time they became full-fledged characters. I began to come up with biographies and plots, and after thinking a little, it occurred to me, why not create my own universe where all my characters will appear? Without thinking for long, literally a couple of days, I came up with the name Immortality for survival, and I like it so much that it is the only thing I didn't change at all in the lore. Trust the official begin of my universe began on February 7, 2018. The main character was and is Junie Sakurai. She is my most famous character, and there are already a lot of fan arts with her at the moment. She is not my first character at all, but 6, and she has 4 designs. Junie's biography changed several times, especially the description of her family and events underwent major change. Condition is that initially I created the universe alone, but from 2019 to 2021, my friend at the time joined my project. She liked my idea, and so Junie got a younger sister. Her author was called Sophie B. In my Telegram channel I explained why I can show this character. According to canon, they were supposed to be a half-sister. Supposedly Junie didn't know her parents and lived in Upchange until she was 4 years old, until their foster family where Sophie lived adopted her, and during the blue moon they awakened their powers. This is an important event in the life of yokai, since during this period their power awakened, which happens once every 3 months. And of Junie's 16th birthday, they awakened as yokais, Junie as an Akomata and Sophie as an Inugami. This detail is partly canon to this day. The original plot is very different from what is canon at the moment. Initially, I came up with the idea that people from ancient times were obsessed with yokai. They wanted to study them, but when they were able to take the form of people and imitate their lives, scientists realized that they couldn't cope so easy, so they created a virus that turns people into zombies, and they in turn affect the yokai or at least make them weaker. Thought their goal was to destroy most of the yokai, but they raised their alarm early and, having left their homes, gathered together in order to come up with a plan. But the problem was that Junie has familiar with many, but how to wear equations with everyone into the plot I didn't understand at that moment. It was logical because she lived her whole life with people. She couldn't only be acquainted with 2, but the characters with all she was acquainted 17, and for sometimes I resist a dead end. And they continued to invert characters, leaving the lore for later. Then it was conventions in the format and a fanfic with illustrations that I would draw myself. At the time, that was all. I was simultaneously writing biographies for the other characters, and my friend something helped me, until in February 2020 we suddenly decided to join the Diabolik lovers fandom, since we had been fans of this anime since 2018. And the main lore of the universe was mixed into the mess with the plot of Dale, and until 2023 it was exactly like that. I'll tell you brightly, our authors got an older brother Azusa Mukami, and then Juni got her canonical scares of her face, because it was necessary to give at least some resemblance to the characters. And at that moment we came up with Juni and Sophie's parents and the press story, which I rewrote 5 times, since my main mistake was that I started writing the characters' biographies before the lore. I should have started with the concept and setting of the world, decide on the races, the goal, the plot, and then write the characters into it all. But I released it much later, and the biography of the main characters itself became much darker and closely connected with vampires and demons. This lasted until 2021. During this period, we suddenly stopped being friends and cut off all ties. I will not name the reason, it is too personal. And since Sophie is not my character, I had to remove her and completely rewrite the plot. I also removed all the arts, videos, and any mentions of her on social networks, and this to some extent until my hands, since I began to work on the project alone again, and all conflicts regarding the characters and their roles disappeared. As of 2021, I decided for myself that there would be 4 parts of this story: mainline, sequel, then prequel, and new generation, but I couldn't decide on the format. At first I thought about making a fanfic, then a 2D animation series, then in comics format. An idea about a visual novel flashed out on my mind, but I decided to put it off until I finished writing the lore. At the time there were already 48 characters, among which were yokai, witches, sirens, demons, angels, aids. But at that moment the main problem appeared. Juni's sister disappeared, and it was necessary to urgently replace her with a new character. Fortunately, when I explained everything to the subscribers, they understood everything and accepted the new character well. Literally in a week after this incident, I created a new younger sister of Juni, Lilith Sakurai. The main similarity between Lilith and Sophie is her parents, that she is a year younger than Juni, and the ship with Subaru. I will skip the entry story up to 2023, since it is no longer canon and was generally right for the DL fandom. Then from 2022-2023 I was torn between quitting the fandom and starting all over again, finally write normal lore or leaving everything as is, because I put a lot into this. I did music videos with authors, 3D memes, MMD animations, arts, video novel, wrote reactions, mini fanfics, and much more. By the way, many videos are on my Patreon, and I plan to re-upload them to my Instagram account. There are popular arts and videos on different fandoms. Consider it's a multi-fandom account. I was also worried about how my current audience at that moment would react to this, because they immediately watch my AU on DL, and I went into thoughts. One day, as usual, I posted art on the DL universe. It was January 27, 2023. Then I didn't yet know that this would be the last art, and so on the evening on February 11, I was watching the anime and doing something at the same time, thinking about how best to act. I realized that if I want to create my own full-fledged story, I needed to separate myself from the fandom, and I already had an idea, characters too, all that's what's left to write the lore, and I decided that yes, that's what I want. Taking the album in one evening, I made 15 sketches of characters, including the new older brother of Juni and Lilith, as well as pets. I came up with their role and race, and at 2 o'clock in the morning I announced on my Instagram that I was ending my activity in this fandom, to which my beloved audience responded positively, loving the new characters almost immediately and supporting my idea. And already on February 14, What a coincidence. I sat down to write the lore from the very beginning, and I start to suss it, but I'm so afraid of spoilers and I haven't told you practically anything to this day, so in the next video I fix that and introduce you to my world more closely. To begin with, I decided to describe the universe, how many worlds there will be in it, what states, countries and cities there will be, that characters will live there. I described what exactly is in each of the cities, houses, what important infrastructure and attractions, what currently they use, who trades rules is, and also for each family I described what their houses look like, the low light of the rooms, the yards, ads. Then I divide each characters by generation, so I got 0 generation, the other characters that will be in the prequel. First generation are the main characters, and second generation, they are already the children of the first generation, and the new characters who will be on the mentions in the preview parts, and of course I divide them into antagonists and protagonists. When creating characters, in addition to redesigns, I came up with their storyline, wrote the meaning of names and surnames, and each family also has its own coat of arms, which can be located on any part of the body. I design plays a big role in my universe. Each character has their own individual drawing, which symbolizes something. It appears in childhood, approximately up to 12 years old. In any race except humans, they do not even see these pattern signs. They don't have any power. An expression is twins, and very rarely the same pattern in the eye can be passed on throughout a generation. I will tell you more about this in the next video. Also, some characters have some mystical pets. I describe who they are, what they eat, what powers they have, and what their weaknesses. After that, I describe the powers and abilities of the characters themselves, how they got their powers, what weapons they have, their strengths or weaknesses, what languages they cast spells in, how they restore energy, all 4 parts, what will be in each other of them, in what period the events took place and what in this time internal between generations, what age and heroes where are and will be, their fate, family line, what languages they speak, nationality, professions or activities, and many different nuances. From other things, I came up with the holidays, illnesses, traditions. Not all of them affect the plot, but they make the universe more alive. I think that such details are important. You can also add climate and nature for each country and world, unusual animals or plants. It is also quite important to build a hierarchy in your lore, from the strongest to the weakest. This will help you not to get confused when writing the plot, and here audience will better understand the position of the characters, and when everything is written out, you can start writing the main plot, which I will talk about in another video. I think one of the main mistakes is not to create a Mauricio character. You need to remember that even the strongest characters must have weaknesses, otherwise it will simply be uninteresting to watch him. Also, you don't need to overload the plot. Yes, several lines are good, but if there are many of them and they appear not gradually but all at once, there will be many plot holes. The audience will get confused about what a being discusses at all, and you yourself you miss the main plot idea and main plot. It is best to decide at the very beginning that exactly you want to see from your story. For example, my universe tells about the creation of the world, about the struggle between angels and demons, how different races appeared, such as witches, vampires, yokai, and how they influence and lives of people, how worlds were created, what they did before and now, how religions were invented, and what it is a goal now. I discussed this idea to speak with colleagues in the industry, and they liked my idea. Number of characters were in the same principle as when writing a plot. If there are many characters, introduce them into the plot gradually, not forgetting to reveal their history and purpose in the plot. For example, at the moment, for all genres generations, I have a collections 427 characters, and they are appearing different plot lines in the different parts. Don't go beyond the set limits. For example, if your universe contains cyberpunk, then if you add steampunk there, it will hardly fit in harmoniously, but if you really want to combine their two directions, then you need to do it so that it doesn't turn out to be a hodgepodge. Create a separate world or cities where each has something of its own. Writing lore is a big and painstaking job, experience from which comes with years. If you take on this business, it is very difficult to bring everything to mind and build a good story. As in my case, there will be many unsuccessful attempted and many mistakes, but only after going through all this you will be able to further develop your universe in the future, understanding how to best describe a character or event. As I said in the beginning of the video, I didn't know what my universe would be like, but in 2024 I finally released what I really wanted. I plan to create a visual novel, but not just with kinetic choices that affect the endings, but also add mini games and tasks that also affect the plot. For example, combat mechanics, platformers, gacha with cards, and then needed to upgrade it for combat rhythms, mini games with 2D and 3D animations in the background and stuff like that. I also have an idea to add currently to the game that can be obtained after each chapter when completed, for which you can buy bonus items and use them to open exclusive stands with characters. At the moment I have almost finished writing the lore and the plot, and then I will start redesigning the characters and working on the setting, and as for the game itself, it is a long way off, but I want people to know about my universe Immortality for survival now. So if you're interested, I will be making more videos on this topic. Well, that's all. Thank you very much for watching to the end. Like, subscribe to the channel and my other social networks. Write your opinion in the comments. Well, with you as me, Miss Rosa. See you again. Bye.